If you have a device and you'd like a copy of this, of the slideshow, the presentation, if you go to presentations.travistrue.com, my website, you'll see the icon for the summit, and you can click on that, and then you'll see both this session and the screencasting session. And underneath the slideshows is a link that you can make a copy and have your own copy and take notes if you want on that. Give you just a minute or two to get to that. You're fine.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh, and there's no one.
Yeah. There's no. Looks like there's a rocking chair back there. Or I'm doing this again this afternoon.
I may just go where there's a desk.
That chair. Oh, she'll come back later. Okay. My name's Travis True. I'm the Curriculum and Technology Coordinator in Topeka for Topeka Public Schools. I've been with Topeka since 2004, and in my current job, this is my 5th school year in my current job. I was a computer lab teacher for most of my career before I got out of the classroom. Google certified trainer, Apple learning specialist. I had a parent once tell me that you're a jack of all trades, master of none. And that's kind of what I feel like in my job. So this is managing your Google life. And so does anybody feel like that when you open up your Drive, or God forbid you open up Shared with Me? Okay. So what I'm going to do is just give you some tips and tricks on kind of managing your Drive. I'll show you some tips and tricks on managing Gmail, your inbox, getting that cleaned up a little bit, and then some tips and tricks on using the Chrome browser. We started our one-to-one. This is our 2nd full year of our one-to-one, so we started our journey about 3 years ago, and that's kind of where I live for the last 3 or 4 years, has been in Chrome and in Google. And so a lot of these things I've kind of learned the hard way, just learned from other people saying, hey, did you know you could do this? So if you have any questions as I'm going along, stop me, throw something at me, get my attention, and we'll just kind of do it that way. All right, so Google Drive. I kind of want to try to get through all these things. I don't know if we will. But what I want to really focus on is organizing, because that was the biggest thing when we started, was trying to get teachers organized so they can find their stuff. It's really easy to find your stuff, and if you look at my Drive, I am not organized at all. I have, it's kind of a New Year's resolution to basically make more folders, I guess, and organize stuff, but I use the search function in Drive 99% of the, really nothing I have lives in a folder. A lot of the folders you see are going to be empty because it was, I'm going to make this folder to organize this group of documents, and then 6 months later those group of documents are not in the folder still. So, but I'll show you how to create folders if you don't know. Color coding folders is something that's really awesome and helps you organize. Moving files around, making copies of files. We will get into Shared with Me. Not for very long. And then recent starred shorting. And we'll talk about naming conventions a little bit, because that kind of helps to organize your stuff, and really it helps you to find your stuff. So I'm going to go into my Drive, and this is my my Drive, and I'll just give you the dime tour of if it will load. So I do have some things color coded. The colors mean different things to me. Like the green means that that's not my folder. Someone shared that folder with me. So it probably should be red instead of green, but I got another reason to use red. But so any folders that I see are green, that tells me not to delete it because that's somebody else's folder. And if I delete it, then they lose access to that. Okay. Red are the important stuff for me. And you can only color code folders. You can't color code individual files. And here's how easy it is to color code folders. So I have a demo folder here. Well, that's Dina. I have this demo folder. I have several demo folders. A lot of test documents. All you do is you can right click, and if you just got a Chromebook, who just got a Chromebook today? Okay. Right clicking on a Chromebook, you can do it two ways. Hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and then click, or if you put two fingers on your mouse and press down at the same time, that will do right click also. Okay? So if you right click, you will see where you can change the color about right there toward the middle, and those are the colors that you have to choose from to change a folder color. Okay? And you can change that at any time. While we're in here, if you want to rename the folder, maybe you have a misspelling or it just needs to be renamed, there's where you can rename it. And if you want to send it to the trash, you can do that. Just a little side information about Google. You do have unlimited space in your district Google account. And if you send stuff to the trash, it does not automatically delete. It does in Gmail, but not in Drive. So I will send a lot of things to the trash and never empty my trash because when I do search, the search also looks into your trash. If you absolutely want it gone forever, empty your trash. If not, just set it in your trash and don't look at it. Okay? All right, so that's color coding a folder since we were in here. If you want to create a folder, you just click the New button, and you have some options there to create a folder. You can also upload files. So we did a lot of this. We're a Windows environment. We did a lot of this in our first trainings because we have network drives that all the teachers can save their stuff to. So we migrated a lot of that over to our drives. With Chrome, it's really nice because you can grab if you're on a Windows computer, you can grab a whole bunch of files at one time and just drag them over and they start uploading. You can also drag folders and upload it automatically too. And it keeps the folder name and all the subfolders inside of it. It's pretty cool. And then you can also create docs, sheets, slides, forms, drawings, all that good stuff within here too. If you're a right-click person, all you have to do is maybe find, come on. All right, we're down to the use folders. Oh, there we go. Here, let's do this. Let me change the view real quick because that's not going to work. So this is list view. This button right up here, the dots will change it to a grid view if you're not clicking too fast. There's grid view. So grid view kind of gives you a thumbnail view. So there's two views. I like list view because it shows more on a page. A lot of people like the grid view because it actually shows you that's on that document. But if you right click kind of on an empty spot in here, maybe not. It's not working for. Anyway, if you right click in your Drive folder, you will have access to create a folder also. Okay. So any questions about folders? If you want to move files, so let me go back to. I'll just stay in here. I'm going to click this little arrow right next to my drive, and that's going to expand and show me all my folders. So what I can do is I can actually drag files that I have over here and drag them over drag and drop them into the folder here. Or I can just click on a folder over here and the contents will show up. So you can drag and drop and move folders that way, or files, sorry. You can also, this is one I can move. You can also move a folder a file by selecting it, clicking the ice cream, we call this the ice cream cone. You have the ice cream cone, you have the waffle, and the hamburger kind of looks like this, but it doesn't have the dots out to the side. The hamburger is usually up here in the top left. It's the 3 parallel lines. But you click on the ice cream cone, which is the 3 dots, and then you can choose to move it, move to, and then you just kind of navigate to your folder to move it into. So you can drag and drop if you want, or you can move, and there's my list. And if you have a subfolder, you just click the arrow right here, and that kind of opens up that folder. And then if there's a subfolder, or if you just want to move it, it'll say move here. If I want to put it in this folder, I would click on that to open that folder up and then tell it to move it here. And if you don't have a subfolder, you're moving it and you don't have a subfolder, you want to organize it, you can actually make a folder by clicking the little folder icon here with the plus on it, and that'll make a folder in here. Then you can move so you don't have to go back out, make the folder, and come back and move it. So that's what that little icon right there is. Okay, so far so good? Yes? Maybe? Okay. All right. So you have my drive. I'm not going to talk about team drives because that's a whole other beast. Basically, the difference between the two, I'll just explain the differences. The difference between the two is my drive is my drive. I have access to it through my account. Nobody else does unless I share folders and files with them. Okay, then they only have access to what I share with them. Team drive is a place where if you're collaborating with other people, it's a place where you can put folders and files, but the ownership is switched. The ownership is taken away from me to the district. The district owns the files and folders. So then if I get struck by a bus and can't make it to work, the team still has access to the files in the team drive. Another way to utilize team drive that we utilize it a lot is a lot of our instructional coaches will use it and put their different teams in different folders. Well, we have a lot of people that move around, leave the district, they move around from buildings, and we always get calls in August saying, hey, we had an assistant principal leave. They have access to these files that we need. Can you get in there? What Team Drive does is anybody who's part of the folders in there or part of the team will always have access to it, even if somebody leaves. My Drive is yours. You only have access to it through your username and password. Team Drive is part of the team, and there's a lot more to it, but I'm not going to get into it. All right. So these are not folders. These are filters. Okay, so they don't work like folders, but what they do is if I click on recent right here, it's going to show me, and I use this quite a bit, because it's going to show me the most recent files that I have opened. So like the last file I opened was this presentation. That's why it's at the top. Okay, and then these are all in the order that I opened them with the time stamp. So I use this a lot when I know I've opened a file recently. I'll go to recent. So this changes. You can't clean it up. You can't organize it. It's just a filter. It's kind of like a search. It shows you what files you've opened up recently. Okay, that's what recent is. Starred works the same way, except you can add a star to any folder or file. So if I open up the presentation, you see there's a star right there. Every document, presentation, spreadsheet will have this star. And you can also right-click on it and add a star. Basically, that's kind of it's a bookmarking tool, or it's a favorite tool. So if this is a document that I know I'm going to be working on a lot, I will star it. Then what I can do is I can go back into my drive and go into starred and find it really easily. So projects that I'm working on, like Innovation Academy is a group of teachers I work with. I know that's in my drive, but since I have it starred, I come right here and I can find it every time because I have it starred. And you can remove a star at any time. If I remove this, you can just click on the star. If I scroll down, it shouldn't be there anymore, and it's gone. It just moves it in and out. And again, you can't organize this. You can't add folders like clicking new. It's just a filter. And when you add a star to a folder or to a file, it goes there. And then the trash, like I said, the trash is trash. It's a good place to hide documents and folders that you don't want to see anymore. But these don't automatically get deleted. So they'll stay there forever until you go into click the empty trash button. And once you empty the trash, they're gone. Nobody's getting it back for you. Okay? Don't call IT, don't call Google. They're gone. So it's gone. Okay? So any question about recent or starred? And trash doesn't delete itself.
Is there a way with the trash to just empty one thing, or?
Yeah, you can. I can click on this, and there's a trash can here. So you select the individual file, and you can delete, and it says delete forever. It just deletes that one. Or you can restore it, and it'll put it back to the spot that you deleted it from. Okay. So you can do individual. And if you wanted to, you can hold down the control key on your keyboard and start clicking, or shift and click and select a whole range. Whatever's selected is going to get deleted. Okay? Anything else? All right, shared with me. Okay. So the first thing I tell people when we're talking about this and shared with me, and they ask, can I organize shared with me? I say, no, you really can't organize it. Just stay out of there. Just, put a piece of tape over this part or something. Just don't click on it. Shared with me is not a folder. It's a filter like recent and starred. Okay. However, you can move these files to your drive and then organize them in your drive. Okay? But you got to be careful, okay? So I'm going to click on this one. This one was shared with me. And I notice here at the top there's an icon that looks like the Google Drive with a plus sign on it. That means that is not in my drive. You can add it to your drive. So I'm going to click on Add to Drive. And it's in my drive right now. It's not in any folders or anything. The problem is I can click on Organize, and I get that drop down. And if I click on this folder and click Move, moving this item will share it with everyone else who can see the shared folder 2016 Kansas Google Summit. So that teacher shared is a timesheet she shared with me and only with me. But if I move it into another folder that is shared with somebody else, they also have access to that. Okay? Here's the other problem that we have. All right, so now look how this changed. This is a good indication that this file is already in my drive. It's a little folder with an arrow. It's already in my drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one, and it stays here, notice. It's because it's still shared. I don't own it. It's still shared with me. It still stays there. I'm going to move this one, and I'm going to organize it, and I'm going to put it in a non-shared folder. This one is not shared with anybody. Okay. And then, so that timesheet has been moved, and I have access to it, he has access to it. You got to click on a document. The icon, you got to click on a document, and the icon's up here. You can get a link so you can share it. Okay. You can click on the little share person button. You can preview it. You can trash it. You can send it to Drive. You can open it with, because somebody may share a Word document with you, and you can't really do anything with it until you convert it to Docs. So you would open it with Docs. You can add a star. You can add a star to a shared document that's not in your Drive. That's shared with me. So you don't even have to move it to your Drive. If you add the star to it, then you can find it in your starred folder. You can make a copy. Making a copy makes an exact copy of this document. The problem with that is if the original gets changed, the copy does not get changed. Okay. And then you can download it to your computer. So any other questions about shared with me?
If somebody shares something with you, but you no longer need access to it, can you unshare it for yourself?
If I go in here to the little person and click on Advanced, I can actually remove myself right there. You can remove yourself. You can actually change your rights. So I have editing rights to it. If I don't want to have it, I can change it to, I just want viewing rights to it. I don't want edit rights. And then you have to click Save Changes. And it also tells you who the owner is and who else has access to it. Here's a problem. When someone gives you editing rights, and there's a whole bunch of people listed here, anybody with editing rights can change anybody else's rights in here. There is a couple boxes you can check if you don't want that changed, and I can show that to you. But if you give somebody viewing rights, they cannot change the permissions of people.
If you organize it into a folder on your drive, can you then delete it from the shared drive?
Let's see. Let's try. So I put this in. I'm going to put it into. I've moved it to my drive. I'm going to move it into. Let's see. I've got this demo folder right here. I'm going to click Move. Okay. So it was this one, and I'm going to click Remove. I removed one file. One removed file is still accessible by collaborators, which means that I basically took myself off the list. You can.
It doesn't change them from seeing.
It doesn't change them. It just changes your access to it. But you got to be careful removing yourself some things, because if you need access to it again, they have to reshare it with you. So if I go back into this demo folder, there's the file. So you can organize it put it in your drive, and then you could remove it from shared with me, and I still have it right here. And I can look and see that it should only be shared with me and Carla. Yep, and I have editing rights to it. All right. What else was on here? Oh, naming conventions. Just come up with a naming convention that works for you. When we started this whole one-to-one planning, our administrator that we worked with a lot wanted all of our one-to-one documents to be date first in 01.01.01 format, and then whatever the name of the document was, because that was what he was used to. So try to come up with some sort of naming convention that's easy for you to remember and understand. What I want to do is I want to show you the search, because I use the search, like I said, I use search all the time. So if I want to find, let's say, I'm just going to search for the word summit. So any file folder that has the word summit in the file name, or that has it somewhere in the body, it's not even in the file name, will be listed here. It may take a while to scroll down, but you'll see it in the file name, the keyword. You will also see it not in the file name, but if you open up that document, you'll see it somewhere in there. So it does search. It does search full documents. It will search pictures with text on it and PDF documents, which is nice. Okay, so I want to break this down a little bit. There's an arrow right here that points down. I'm going to filter this a little. You can actually search by any of these file types. Pictures, PDF. Now notice it says text documents. It doesn't say Google documents. Because if you've got Word documents, if you're a Mac district and you've got Pages documents, it will search for those too. Okay? Spreadsheets, which would include Excel and numbers. Presentations, which would include PowerPoints and keynotes. Forms, audio, and like several different MP3, WAV, all those different video files, MP4, MOV, all those different Flash video drawings, and you can also search for folders. So I just want the PDF documents that have the keyword of Summit in there. I can also, let's say I'm not the owner, so I can filter it by not owned by me, or if I know who the owner is, I can specify and put their name and email up here, and it will just pull back PDFs shared by this person with the keyword Summit in there. So we're going to go not owned by me. The location is anywhere. If I know it's in the trash, I can just pick trash. If I know it's starred, I can just pick starred. Date modified. It has the words, and you can add words to this. Maybe if I know I shared it with somebody. And the follow-up is if there are some kind of action items or suggested edits. So if like commenting was turned on. So let's see. So I have, and you can kind of see it fill up here. The owner is not me, so it's the owner is me with a little minus sign in front of it, so the owner is not me. The type of document's a PDF, and the keyword is the word Summit. And if I click search, there are all of the PDFs that have the word Summit in there that are not owned by me, and you can see who the owners are. And notice none of these have Summit in the file name. They're all in the body of the document someplace. The search box will be your friend if you start using it not just for keywords, but filter out if you know I know it's this kind of document, or if you have that naming convention, you can at least start 01/12/18. If that's what you have it dated, then you can at least start that. Okay. Questions about searching? All right. I am running out of time here. All right. Any other questions about Drive? Let's move on to Gmail. In Gmail, what I really want to focus on are the filters. So I'm going to go into my Gmail. Please don't judge when you see my Gmail. My goal every day is to have an inbox that's empty, except, okay, so let me back up. For me, okay, so there's different ways that you can view your inbox. So I have my inbox set up to where I have all my unread messages listed first, and everything else is labeled everything else. And because of the information that I get and the files that are shared with me, I don't delete anything, and really I don't organize anything in the labels. If it's unread or if I need to do some action to it, it stays in my inbox until that's done. Because if I need to get access to it, I just search for it. And the search works a lot the same as the drive search. I can search for emails if I know who sent it, if I know at least one word in the subject, or maybe it has these sets of words in the body, or maybe it doesn't have. So I could search for words that have Summit in them, but doesn't have Chromebook in them. I know if it has attachments, I can click that. Or within a range of dates, I can search, and I can have all these boxes filled up. So like all emails from Dr. Moody that have the word Chromebook in it, but doesn't have the word Google in it. This will be interesting. There's two. Okay. This one and this one. Well, actually, this is an email. This is a Hangout message. If you use Google Hangouts, the history gets saved. It's part of Gmail, so the history gets saved in Gmail, and you have a little Hangout icon right here. Question? Okay. All right, so let me talk about over here on the left. These are not folders. These are labels. They're kind of like in Drive, the recent and the shared. So technically they're not folders, but they work like folders. Okay, so I have these labels set up for administration, and I have filters set up to where when I get an email from Dr. Anderson, our superintendent, that email goes into my inbox, but it also goes into this label / folder. Kind of do the same thing. Let me show you how you can set that up to do it automatically. I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to go into settings here in the gear, and I'm going to go into settings, which is right here in the middle. Up here at the top, you have filters and blocked addresses. All right, I got like 5 minutes, I think. Okay. All right. Filters and blocked addresses. So basically, you write a rule for for the email that you want to move automatically. So I'm just going to make one, and you can kind of see all of these. I kind of need to go in here and organize this. 6 months later, it'll still be the same. All right, so down here at the bottom, it'll say create new filter. And then in this box, you write your rule, basically. So any email from this email address, and I'm going to stop right there because I want every email, if it has attachments or not, I want all the emails. So any email from this address, I'm going to create a filter for it. Okay, now so here's your rules part. Any email with this address, you can have it skip the inbox and do what's archive it. Archive it is like hiding it. It doesn't delete it. It's under the filter of all mail. if you accidentally archive something, it goes into all mail. You can still search for it. You just won't see it on anything. I suggest not checking that box. You can mark it as read. You can automatically star it, like starring in Drive. You can star things. You can apply it to a label. So this is where I'm going to apply it to a label. And I don't have a label for him, so I'm going to make a new label right here and call this Doc Moody and hit create. You can have it automatically deleted. Probably wouldn't suggest you do that unless it's an account that you get that always is spamming you, then you can delete it. But if it's like your principal, probably not a good idea to delete it. You can also send, if you have canned responses set up, you can also basically have an automatic response sent back to that person. You can mark it as important, and you can also, the categories are kind of a different part of the inbox. But I'm just going to leave it like this. So any message I get from Dr. Moody will go to my inbox, but it will also be applied to this label or folder. Okay? And down here at the bottom, since I already have emails from him, I'm going to check this box. Also apply this filter to matching conversations. So it's going to go back into my inbox and find any emails from that email address and apply them right now. So it's not one of those filters that works from the time you start it, but you do have to check this box. And then if I click Create Filter, I should have a Doc Moody filter over here, label, and there's all the messages from him that automatically get put in there. If I get a new one, this will show up with a number bold, with the number 1 like that, but it will also be in my inbox too. It will be in both places. So I can actually show you what that looks like. So I'm going to mark it as unread. So that's what that looks like. If I open up this, that's not a good one because that's a chat. Let me do this one. Okay, right here. These are the labels or filters. Inbox, Doc Moody. I can leave that as unread and I can uncheck the inbox, and now it's not in my inbox. But it is still here waiting for me to click on it and read it. But you can set up that automatic organizing. Let it organize for you by filters. Everything before when I was still teaching in the classroom, every email I got from a principal went into the principal label. Everything that came from the counselors went into the counselor. Everything that came from whoever went into that folder. But the filters do it automatically for you. You don't have to click and drag. You can click and drag it over if you want, but let Google do the work for you.
Do you get a notification or something? I mean, how do you know it's in that folder if you notice it?
It will show. It'll show up bold with the number if it's not red. So if he were to send me one right now, an email, this would have a number 2 next to it. It would also go in, my inbox number would jump to 10, but this would also go to 2. Okay. Are we done? Am I supposed to be done? Okay. All right. If you have any questions throughout the day, just come and talk to me. Hopefully this helps with your organizing and kind of managing, because it can get out of control. So if you got any questions, let me know. Thank you. You guys were great. Thank you very much.
You can have been here 30 years.